Call to action for plastic waste collection led by CEDAR-COM within the Boya municipality.
We are from, I am from CEDAR-COM.
Community Empowerment Development and Rehabilitation Commission is a non-governmental organization with a vision to foster a society where people enjoy a better experience of life and growth. And climate change is one of its key pillars. Reasons why we are taking on this initiative of plastic waste collection. Nestled at the foot of Mount Cameroon, Boya municipality is blessed with incredible natural beauty. Our town, once known for its pristine environment, now faces a growing challenge: waste management, particularly plastic waste. Every day, thousands of plastics bags and packaging materials are carelessly discarded across our communities. These plastics clog our drainage systems, pollute our waterways, and threaten the health of our environment and citizens. Despite existing efforts from the government, local authorities, and individual organizations, plastic waste continues to accumulate faster than we can manage it. But together, we can change this narrative. Our new plastic waste collection initiative aims to transform how we handle plastic waste within the Boyo community, using partnerships with communities, institutions, businesses, cities, and individuals. Strategically placed collection points will be identified and regular community cleanups will be organized in partnership with local businesses and community leaders. Our goal is to make waste disposal convenient for everyone. Imagine a Boya where plastics no longer litter our streets or choke our waterways, where our children grow up in a cleaner, healthier environment. This vision is within our reach. A cleaner Boya starts with you. Why not join us in this crucial effort? For together we can make Boya a model for sustainable waste management in Cameroon.
Hello viewers of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon television, PCC TV, broadcasting live from our headquarters at the Holy Hills of the Synod office in Boya Town, as we bring to you the first edition of this program, dubbed A Better Humanity, powered by CEDAR-COM, that is the community empowerment, development, rehabilitation commission. We were able to get details about who they are in the course of this live broadcast, where we are to understand their objectives as well as understand their role towards the advancement of a better world. This afternoon, we are pleased to have with us the programs manager of CEDAR-COM, Mr. Fon Honore. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mitruge.
And to my left, we have a beautiful lady. She's called Heldrine Molingen. She is the communication officer of CEDAR-COM. Heldrine, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mitsuge.
It's the first edition, of course, of A Better Humanity, and I'm humbled to be the host of this first edition. Mituge Stanley Mwangalame is my name. As we begin by first of all understanding what is a better humanity, I'll ask the first question to you, Mr. Fonore. In your understanding, what is a better humanity all about?
Thank you, Mitruge. A better humanity is a really broad notion, but I would principally just use an acronym I created, say CELES. That means it's firstly about compassion, it's about equity and justice, it's about love among humans, it's about education and awareness, and it's about sustainability, and it's also about strong communities. Imagine that humans had better education, more compassion, more love among each other. They had stronger communities. They are more sustainable. They collaborate more on things that they do. Life will be better for everybody.
So it's just about everyone coming on board to contribute their own quota to a better airspace across the world.
A better airspace, a better psychological space, better social space, economic space. In fact, a better experience of life?
Very important. That's the first question to, first of all, help us understand the name of this program, A Better Humanity, which has come to stay on PCC television. That will be coming to you every Wednesday as from 1 to 2 p.m. So I turn to the communication officer of CEDAR-COM, Heldrin Mulingen. I wish to understand, just like the televiewers out there, what is humanitarianism and why does it exist in the first place?
Okay, so humanitarianism is a moral and ethical stance. It's a moral and ethical stance that practically emphasizes the importance of human welfare, particularly in times of suffering or in times of struggle. And this is often characterized by the commitment or the will to provide better living for people, alleviate suffering, and ensure that people have dignified living irrespective of their background.
Dignified living,
Yeah.
irrespective of their background, meaning that anybody who doesn't have a dignified living condition is not a human, or
Sorry, come again.
anybody who doesn't have a dignified living condition is not a human being or is not enjoying humanitarianism.
No, that is not what I meant to say.
Okay.
What I'm just trying to say is the aim of humanitarianism is to ensure that people have dignified living irrespective of where they come from. That's even if you're from a country that is still growing, if you're from the urban area, you're in the rural area. The aim of humanitarianism is to ensure that everybody, regardless of where they come from, who they are, what they matter in the society, have some sort of dignified living, something that is respectable, acceptable, conditions that are favorable to everybody.
All right. So, therefore, how does it work? What is the process of humanitarianism?
Okay, so the process of humanitarianism practically goes from needs assessment, conducting needs in the community, to actually understand the people's suffering, the people's plights, and then attending to these needs based on which is very important at the moment. Then we move over to what we call collaboration and coordination. Now, with collaboration and coordination, is practically working with other organizations to ensure that we harmonize things in the community and such that people have some sort of comprehensive aid when they need them. Then comes resource mobilization. When we talk about resource mobilization, it's practically just seeking for fundings to ensure that the people in these communities, the individuals who need the help, actually get the help they need. Now, this is very common in humanitarian settings where we appeal for funds and grants such that we can carry out these activities. After the funds and grants are being approved, then we have what we call implementation. When it comes to implementation, we go to the community, ensure that we are providing the needs of these people and these individuals. We can have what we call immediate relief, which comes when there is probably some disaster or crisis, and we are trying to provide um, things, or rather, we are trying to come in to provide shelter, food, clothing to people who need them, particularly based on the situation that has happened. Then we have what we call long-term programs, where we come in to provide developmental efforts, supports. Mostly the supports now coming to build infrastructures, the supports coming to build some sort of development into the community. So it's practically putting the people, or rather the community, in a place where in future they can stand up for themselves and address such situations when they arise again. Then we have what we call awareness creation or advocacy. When we go to the community and carry out these actions with advocacy, we try to write reports that can be sent to government officials to ask, or rather plead, that some policies have been amended such that they are favorable to some people. And with awareness creation, we try to work with journalists, we try to create awareness about particular things so that people are informed Then, after we have awareness creation, we have what we call monitoring and evaluation of the program or project that is going on in the field. We monitoring and evaluation is practically ensuring that things are working as planned. And if things are not working as planned, what happens is we learn from what is going on in the field. After learning from what is going on in the field, it helps us to come up with strategies that helps to better our next community engagements or involvements. So that is practically it. But then there is also what we call community engagement, which is also involving the people in the communities, involving the individuals.
That's the participatory approach.
Yeah, it's a participatory approach where you get them involved. Say, I want to go to a community like, say, for example, Bokwango or Boasa, and I intend to set up pipe bomb water in the community. Now, if I go there and I do it myself, the people do not feel like they belong. They do not feel like they have participated in that activity. And as such, they may not give it as much value, even though it might be helpful to them. So a better approach may be to go to the community, talk to them, even though you know the problem, let them tell you that, okay, this is what is going on in our community. We'll be happy if you come in based on this intervention like this. Then you don't just go ahead to do everything by yourself. You involve them probably in the digging of the lines and everything. In that case, when pipe bomb water eventually comes, now they are happy, they are satisfied, they feel like they participated, and they feel like they belong. Now, let me just give a small example of participatory approach. I think there was a country in Africa. I can't remember clearly. It's something I read many years back. So it was literally about pipe bomb water too. So a project came to that community to create pipe bomb water to give the people better standards of living and all, but they were not consulted. There was no form of participatory approach. So they came, did their needs assessments, went back, came, implemented the project and everything. And when they came for monitoring, what they realized was the project was there, but it wasn't creating impact. It wasn't serving its purpose. And why was that? This was simply because they failed to involve the people. When they did their investigation, they understood that the women or the girls or the ladies moving a few meters down to the stream to carry water was some sort of engagement or bonding for them. It was opportunity for them to discuss with one another, know what is happening in each other's family, know what is happening in each other's life, romantic life, social life, children, and everything. But then when the water came to the community,
it stopped them from having this time for themselves to discuss these social issues, which they usually do when going to the street.
Exactly. And in no time, what happened was people stopped carrying the pipe bomb water.
And
everybody started going to the street. Yeah, so they had to come back and then inquire what is happening, what happened, and the people said, "You guys started this thing and did not inform us. You guys did not involve us. If you had involved us, we would have told you, okay, this is the reason why we love the stream. This is the culture it has built. This is why things are happening this way." Then it probably would have informed you to think of probably putting up a pipe bomb water somewhere along the stream so that they do not lose that touch or that connection. So in a nutshell, that is practically what the process of humanity is all about. It moves from needs assessment to collaborating with non-governmental organizations to looking for resources, that's resource mobilization, right up to implementation, then creating advocacy and awareness program, monitoring and evaluation, and of course, community engagement.
Thanks so much, Eldrin Molinge, for being quite explicit in that take two for this program this afternoon coming to life over PCC television. I just want Mr. Fon to add something about the importance of community engagement in all projects, like what she said earlier. I mean, you're just adding more meaning into what she said about you involving the beneficiaries in every step of the project. Because at the end of the day, that project needs to be sustainable. And it can only be sustainable when the people, the beneficiaries, see the importance of the project and they feel belong in that particular project.
Yes, let's just use another word. Like I think Henry explained it quite well,
Mm.
but let's use another word to actually ownership. If you involve me in a project, it is no longer that winner thing.
Mm.
It is
Mhm.
this
Our thing.
we are thing. Let me really put it the typical pidgin. This we are thing.
Mm.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much. So, Aldrin, you were quite explicit, as I said earlier, but I want to find out from you who is eligible to carry out humanitarian action. Can I just wake up tomorrow and become a humanitarian? Can I just wake up tomorrow and create an NGO, or must I even have an NGO in the first place to become a humanitarian? Please tell us more about it.
Okay, so humanitarian actions involve a diverse set of actors. Now, when I say diverse set of actors, it's just practically people who can engage in these activities. We have the United Nations. We are very much aware of the fact that they have other agencies like the UNHCR. They have the World Health Organization, the WFP, and all, which attends to needs based on their different pillars. And also, we also have researchers. These people are also involved in humanitarian action. Now, how are they involved in humanitarian action? They do deep, extensive research that helps to add data for evidence. Is this data that we, non-governmental organizations and other bodies, use as evidence to seek for grants and use to support our claims if something is happening in a community or so. Even journalists also participate in humanitarian actions because, of course, they inform, they educate, they do infotainment, informing and entertaining people. And what they do is, I mean, you best know, they sensitize people or create awareness about a particular humanitarian issue. They sensitize people or create awareness about a particular humanitarian issue. So I think that is it. And there is also the beneficiaries in the community as well. How do they participate? Now, their insights. When we go to the community, the needs we highlight, their insights, their perspective, and their feedback about that particular program or that community engagement serves as some sort of humanitarian actions. Also, we have non-governmental organizations. We've already elaborately discussed how they get involved in humanitarian actions, but we should not also leave out the volunteers of this program because they come into NGOs, they give support to NGOs, they give their time, they give their resources such that the NGO is able to go out there and achieve what they want. So I think somehow that is practically a few of the organizations, or rather the actors that actually work or help to implement humanitarian actions. But mind you, there are a lot of them,
Mm.
like
Mhm.
local chiefs,
Yes. I was
traditional
just
rulers,
yes.
because they too play a very, very, very vital role. You cannot go to a community and you intend to create change, or you intend that the people in that community change their way of thinking, or you want to influence them in some way without going through the traditional rulers.
Yeah, I was thank you, Edwin. That's quite elaborate. And I was just going to add that there are humanitarians who move with a badge,
Mm.
Mhm.
and there are humanitarians whose badge is only seen in the heart.
Yeah.
We have grandmothers who are taking care of grandchildren, like 5, 10, 15 grandchildren, left by neighbors and others. Nobody knows them. These are humanitarians. So we have people too who have been involved in other ways, have carried out humanitarian gestures, but not in a very formal way. And what I'm trying to say is anybody who wants to move towards a better humanity can become a humanitarian. But there are just structural ways that make it effective because there are principles around humanitarianism also which matter a lot. For example, you need to respect the humanity of the beneficiary, you need to respect their independence, you need to also respect their neutrality. If it's in a crisis, they must not belong to the There may be a government side or a non-government side before you help them, for example, and then you need to respect their independence. They have the right to say, "Oh, I don't want your help," or anything. So there are principles that could guide what we can qualify as humanitarian action.
So, grosso modo,
From these actors that
all
have
right.
been stuff.
Yes. So, grosso modo, humanitarian action shouldn't be forced on people.
No.
Rather, they should give you the need to help them, because we see people who have probably they have projects, and because probably the deadline of that project is it's it's about coming to its of course the deadline is just around the corner. They are looking for a community to invest or to carry out this humanitarian action, so that they can have pictures, have videos, and send to their partners that, okay, we're probably in the Kumbi and we did this particular action. And you go there, you just do what you want to do. Probably even when you are coming to see the people, they are not available because they've gone to their farms.
Stanley, that's very bad. That's a typical example of what is not humanitarian. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. It's something we need to discourage.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also think this also brings us to some of the reasons why humanitarianism exists. Because for some people, it exists because of moral obligations. Deep down, they just feel like it's right for me to do so. I want to do this to help people. And this belief is rooted in deep ethical principles of compassion and empathy. And some people, it's just about social justice. They just want to promote social justice and equity such that they eliminate all sorts of suffering. And for others, it's just because over time they have gotten to realize that, or rather, the whole human right thing has been preached in such a way that people now understand that every human has the right to be protected. Every human has the right to live according to certain standards and so. And I think those are some of the reasons why humanitarianism exists, and these are the things that fuel people to act in the way that they do act when it comes to humanitarianism.
All right, thanks so much, Green, of course, for adding your, your savvy about humanitarianism into this topic. It is coming to life on PCC television as a program that has come to stay, dubbed A Better Humanitarian. You'll be having this on your screens every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we are turning to you, Mr. Honore Fon, to help us out, because many viewers are watching us at this point in time are asking the question, what is the difference between humanitarian action, development, and investment?
Okay, thank you. Let me really put it in the simplest terms. Let's talk about one. Humanitarian action is about saving lives. Saving lives. That means you come with an urgent action because life is at stake and dignity is at stake. So you come in and save lives through actions like providing food, providing shelter, ensuring protection of people, maybe within a disaster period or within a crisis or an emergency of one nature or the other. I'll give an example like, let's say, the sociological crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest region, or the COVID pandemic that affected us not long ago. So that is about the humanitarian aspect. The principle, simple definition is about saving lives. Okay, now development action is about improving lives. Improving is more sustainable, it's more long term, and it actually involves uh, actions that address root causes to why people are suffering, why people experience poverty, and all of that. So, development action is about improving these lives. So, we've talked of saving life for humanitarian action, and we've talked of improving life for development. Now, the third one is sustaining lives. That is investment, that's human investment. Now, you can't always come and save life. You can't always come and you're improving life maybe through healthcare, through education, providing schools. You need to empower, I think Henry touched on this earlier. You need to empower the people to have the means sustainably to always be able to construct their own hospital when they want, buy their own food when they want through employment, through microfinance. Let them be able to run their own small businesses, and that is now economic investment. That's human investment in an economic form. That way, you can see that you are able to save lives through humanitarian action, but you are able to improve it through development action, and you are able to sustain it by getting the people empowered to generate their own wealth and resources that can make them take care of themselves. Because in the long run, the best is to create a situation where people need each other not because they are suffering, but because they love each other and want to share resources that they have.
Wow, quite interesting there. I mean, I picked out the three, differentiation between humanitarian action, development, and sustainability, or better still, investment. And for what I got from Mr. Fononore, humanitarian action, it's all about saving lives. The first thing is to save life. And when you save lives, of course, you have to improve upon that life. Probably someone want to kill his or herself because of addiction that the person has. So when you save that person, what are you bringing on board to make that person not to go back to what made the person to kill his or herself in the first place? So that is now the development aspect of it, which is improving their lives, and the third phase, which is about the sustainability, as you said, is about investment. So once you invest in something, it means you're about sustaining that particular thing so that it can live for a very long time. Now let's come back to us. I mean, us, the PCC, because many are wondering out there, yes, talking about humanitarian action. So, what has the PCC, that is the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, what role has she played in humanitarian action in Cameroon? Mr. Kolorori.
Whew, where do I start? Where do I start? Even before I was born, the PCC was already carrying out humanitarian actions with the support of its missionaries, international bodies, but also based on the Christian values of those old mothers in the churches, those fathers in the churches, those young men who wanted to make their communities better, who wanted as Christians to solve problems amongst them in their churches. Those humanitarians, remember, who don't wear a badge. The Presbyterian Church,
their badge is in their heart.
It's in their heart. And that's why it's important to not only talk about God as an abstract, but to make followers of God realize that God put them in the world to take care of each other. And when they are taking care of each other, they're taking care of God's business. And this has happened in a lot of congregations, in a lot of parishes. But putting it in a more structured way, we have had humanitarian actions, recent humanitarian actions by the PCC from a more central view. We can look at PCC's humanitarian projects recently. One of them is during the COVID period. The PCC's HIV program did a lot of distribution of COVID material, COVID prevention material, and WASH. WASH is water, sanitation, and health.
Okay.
To help communities to avoid the hazards and the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. We've had also, when there was a leprosy outbreak in Manyemen, the PCC Health Services, thanks to support from Bread for the World, they did a wonderful job in collaboration with CBC Health Services. With the PCC Health Services did a wonderful job in arresting the outbreak. If not, leprosy might have spread and even reached us. Maybe I would have been having leprosy now. So that was a typical example of humanitarian action, receiving humanitarian action. And then we also need to talk about another project. I'm just remembering a few.
You're right.
Voices for Migrants, which PCC's communication department engaged with CBS in collaboration with the World Communication
Council.
Yes, partners WCC. Yes, and this particular project was engaged towards changing the stigmatizing narratives that communities have been having on migrants, and they use migrant citizen journalists from the migrant themselves to change the narrative and to come up with radio programs and proximity activities within communities that make people see migrants differently. Thanks to that program, we're able to identify a migrant who produces bikes in Boya. Sorry, in Douala. Bikes.
Motorbikes?
Motorbikes. Even keke. So the stigma of migrants are poor, migrants are parasites. It was damaged, positively damaged by that. We now had to change that narrative effectively. I should also not fail to mention the mental health psychosocial support MHPSS project, PCC, in partnership with Intersource and funded by SV, an international humanitarian organization. This project reached out to thousands of persons on awareness about mental health. Hundreds of cases of mental health were addressed at clinical and community levels. You know, this project proved to the world that we have, in Cameroon, we have basically just about 2 or 3 mental health institutes, or what do I call them? Institutions. Hospitals. Like we have Hôpital Jamon, we have Naketini. That's the ones that are commonly known. But now, what about somebody who's poor? A family that is poor, they have somebody who's facing mental health challenges and they cannot go to the hospital, or because they don't even have transport to go to those places and pay those high bills. To meet a psychiatrist, Cameroon seems to have less than 5 psychiatrists nationwide. 5 psychiatrists. So this project was able to bring on board a psychiatrist and a psychiatrist nurse in Kumba, PGH Kumba. And thanks to this project, we caused about 11 other facilities to serve as 10 other facilities to serve as satellite facilities where persons with mental health challenges were identified within the communities. They were given, those who had mild cases were treated at the level of the communities, and those who needed psycho-medication were brought to the facility. And we had people with mental health challenges actually getting better. And remember that this project it's good to highlight that this project came in because of the traumatizing impact of the crisis in the socio-political crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region. The amount of mental health challenges in those regions is high, and PCC was able to step in with this novel approach in collaboration with Intersource and SV. It's a project that never needs to be allowed to stop, and we are looking at ways. I think on another episode, another day, we'll be able to talk about sustaining these humanitarian actions that we've done. So I can't talk about all PCC projects that are going on the field. It's just important to note that faith-based organizations like the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon and other church organizations are doing a great job in humanitarian work. Maybe they just have the challenge of, the Frenchman will say, there is savoir-faire versus faire savoir. That's the savoir-faire is knowing how to do it, and faire savoir is getting people to know that you are doing it. The churches generally are not very excellent in blowing their trumpets because they feel that they have to be humble about what the church is doing. Yes, but these are some of the projects that we have that highlight humanitarian action. As for developmental actions, we have the PCC development department that has a whole plethora of projects every year that they carry out to improve lives. Remember, and then we have the PCC's financial department and PCC's Press Microfinance, which carry out a lot of activities around boosting human economic investment for families, for small farm holders, for small venturers, small businesses, etc. And I believe that this is what the unhidden message that the church is carrying out under the framework of preach, teach,
and we saw it recently as well. I think we can't forget about it with the crisis that we know in the Northwest and Southwest region. The amount of Christians, non-Christians that the church reached out with humanitarian gesture. I mean, it was also something very laudable to thank the hierarchy for such Remembering their Christian, we know the former moderator went right to Nigeria to meet Cameroonians who have fled over to Nigeria for safety, and met them with humanitarian gestures.
In fact, with what you have said, I will not even call them the hierarchy again. I'll call them the leadership. Because you can be high, but you don't lead. But the leadership of PCC over the years have proven to be excellent in terms of human compassion. And it's even going to be even more excellent with the new vibes and the messages that we are getting from the hierarchy, with the mandate of strengthening
and edifying
the church. You have to strengthen also communities, you have to strengthen families, you have to strengthen human endeavors, so that we don't have a church made of suffering people, cursing and asking God why, but we have a church of thankful, successful people telling God, thank you.
Dear viewers, these are two resource persons coming all the way from the Center, or better still, the Community Empowerment, Development and Rehabilitation Commission, CEDAR-COM of the PCC. Now, we'll also let them tell us more about this wonderful arm of the church, which is in charge of providing or contributing to the betterment of the world and to humanity. So, I'll come back to Mr. Folonore to now help us out, bring out those unique contributions that CEDAR-COM has been making for some time now for the betterment of the society.
Well, you asked me, I would have told you that you should let Hedrin is very good at saying what Sarah is doing. But for now,
you said the pace.
That's our communication officer.
She'll come into
Yes. But let me just say that CEDAR-COM was created about 3 years ago by the PCC Synod, and the idea was to create a structure that will operate with a certain level of autonomy, that when the pastors are out preaching and reaching in other ways, we should have a technically apt team that provides technical support to all the departments. CEDAR is not the only department carrying out projects to save, improve, and enrich lives. But CEDAR is the technical strategic team. From the way we are talking, you can understand that we provide facilitation to enhance the work of the various departments that are already doing this work. And sometimes we have projects of our own. So how do we enhance this work? CEDAR engages very strongly in strategic planning for the leadership of the church and for other community institutions that want to improve life. We don't limit ourselves only to the PCC just because we're created from the PCC. And also improvement planning. Sometimes something is working, but it needs to be improved. And that is part of what CEDAR does. We do strategic planning, we do improvement planning, we provide technical support, for example, with activities like needs assessment and action planning and other things that need to be broken down to technical support. Because there are some projects that if you don't plan, if you don't do them technically, you may not be able to succeed, or at least convince your donor that you succeeded. However, besides technical support, we also have projects that are actually run by CEDAR. For example, we have Press Diet, which is about integrating nutritional and dietetic care in health care among health facilities, like PCC's health facilities. If a patient comes and you tell them, when you go back, no chop this one, no chop that one, is good. But based on what diagnosis do you do that? Do you have a dietitian that also and then are you able to provide the things that they should eat? Do you get the one way I go chop, as you say, make I go chop this one. You know how to follow me up, whether as I chop so I improve and all of that. I like to go into pigeon when I'm
for sure. At least it helps the viewers in its raw nature.
That is it. But we also have Press Air. Press Air is a project that came from our realization that a lot of people die in Cameroonian hospitals because they don't have access to oxygen for crucial respiratory and chronic care. That means you've heard a lot of people say, well, my mommy died, my papa died, my pikin died because the oxygen will be there. That's how we bring pikin for hospital. This time around, we realize, oh, this oxygen that we trap around. Just because we don't have the technology doesn't mean we cannot go for it. So we had this project some donors and with our initial efforts too, and we have been able to establish an oxygen plant for our internal provision of oxygen, make sure that oxygen is not lacking in our hospitals. This is so important because we don't want to hear that somebody died because there was no oxygen. It, of course, it's liquefied oxygen. It's not the normal oxygen that people. It's not. It's oxygen that's trapped and liquefied and filtered. Then we also have a project, diagnostic improvement project, where we are just helping laboratory technicians and with other technicians, X-ray and all of that, to and doctors to make sure that they have the right technology, the best processes to improve diagnosis. Do you know a lot of people still suffer from poorly diagnosed treatments, and then it leads to poor treatment and death? So SEDA has manned a project like that and is still looking for more resources to improve on that. Also, we have the Keep IDP and Vulnerable Children in School project. With this project, we did not have much money. So with the very little money that we had, we said, okay, what if we just identify, say, 200 children, displaced IDP children or very vulnerable children who just can't go to school because primary school fees that is so small and they cannot pay. They don't have birth certificates, they don't have school bags. So we provided this minor thing and we saw the meaning of small money, big change. Because we've run this for years, the tech help to handle plastic waste. And it's even starting from our own small Presbyterian campuses like the Synod office. I'm sure you saw some of that.
Yes, recently.
Some of the videos, yes, because somebody has to do something about something with or without resources. That's how we believe.
All right. Very interestingly, seeing the CEDAR-COM out to collect these plastic bottles that we see littering around our locality, and also being able to champion environment. Of course, we know World Environment is tomorrow, the 5th of June, 2025. We've seen you, Heldrin, champion this exercise. Is it because you are a humanitarian organization, or is it because you love humanity? I mean, CEDAR-COM.
Okay, so I would say it's a two-way
Okay.
thing. It's because we are a humanitarian organization and also because I love humanity. If you remember earlier, I said there are many reasons why humanitarianism work does exist. Some because of moral obligations, and I feel morally obliged to actually put out some humanitarian issues out there such that people who can assist can actually come in and assist in the best way that they can. So I try as much as possible to use my strength, my skills to do what we have to do. So back to what Mr. Fon said, he said a lot regards to our health projects, climate change, and all. So in a nutshell, we are a community-based organization that strives to provide dignified living for vulnerable and communities. But you agree with me that if we do all of these and it's not seen, obviously we are not going through the whole process of humanitarianism because we'll be missing out on showcasing the work and also getting and also mobilizing the resources that we need to help these vulnerable communities and individuals. So because of things like these, it pushes me to go out there, create documentaries, showcase our work, showcase our activities, such that we have people who can come up to us and help these vulnerable people through CEDAR-COM.
All right, and of course, the director of CEDAR-COM, the very Reverend Dr. Funky Samuel Foba, who is also championing this cause in terms of plastic waste collection as well as environmental. You can see him there in action. So, Mr. Fon, Miss Heldrin, we're about wrapping up with this maiden edition of A Better Humanity, of course, powered by CEDAR-COM on PCC television. If there is a take-home message to all the viewers watching us at this point in time, what is it?
Well, I would say think beyond yourself, make life better for somebody else, and that way you make life
to recreate his world and make it conducive for humanity to go.
humans. And remember, we are centrally connected to God the Creator and to nature, His creation.
Thanks so much, Eldrin.
Yeah, if I have a take home message, it's simply consideration. As human beings, if we are considerate, then we'll feel obligated to do what is morally right, and we'll try everything in our power to ensure that those around us and communities within our vicinities are living in better condition. That is just to say, we'll try as much as possible to alleviate suffering around us. So, in a nutshell, let's just be considerate and decent humans.
And the Ubuntu spirit says it all. I am because you are. We live for one another, and the Bible says it all. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to always dine, to always wine, to always fellowship in God's name. So we just urge you to stay tuned to more programs over the PCC television, because we promise to come back next week with another powerful edition of this program, A Better Humanity, powered by CEDAR-COM. Thanks so much, Ms. Eldrin.
Thank you, Mr. Mituge.
Thank you as well, Mr. Fong.
Thank you, Stanley Mituge. You are very tough questions for us.
Thank you so much.
Very good questions.
Definitely, and it was just to clarify the doubts of our viewers, for them to better understand what humanity is all about and what you and I can do to make it a better place. Catch the rendezvous next week for another production of A Better Humanity, only on PCC television, powered by CEDAR-COM. We is extending special greetings to the National Commission Secretary of the PCC, the Reverend Dr. Mrs. Perpetua Funky, who doubles as the Director of PCC Television. We know she's watching us at this point in time. Thanks so much for the moral support. Thank you as well to the Director of Production, Dango Terrence, for your expertise for this, as well as Patrice Junior for being behind the cameras. Mituga Stanley Mwangalame signing out for PCC Television. See you next week, Wednesday, as from 1 p.m. for another edition of A Better Humanity, powered by CEDAR-COM. Good afternoon.
A call to action for plastic waste collection led by CEDAR-COM within the Boya municipality.
We are from, I am from CEDAR-COM.
Community Empowerment Development and Rehabilitation Commission is a non-governmental organization with a vision to foster a society where people enjoy a better experience of life and growth, and climate change is one of its key pillars. Reasons why we're taking on this initiative of plastic waste collection. Nestled at the foot of Mount Cameroon, Boya municipality is blessed with incredible natural beauty. Our town, once known for its pristine environment, now faces a growing challenge: waste management, particularly plastic waste. Every day, thousands of plastics bags and packaging materials are carelessly discarded across our communities. These plastics clog our drainage systems, pollute our waterways, and threaten the health of our environment and citizens. Despite existing efforts from the government, local authorities, and individual organizations, plastic waste continues to accumulate faster than we can manage it. But together, we can change this narrative. Our new plastic waste collection initiative aims to transform how we handle plastic waste within the Boyo community, using partnerships with communities, institutions, businesses, cities, and individuals. Strategically placed collection points will be identified and regular community cleanups will be organized in partnership with local businesses and community leaders. Our goal is to make waste disposal convenient for everyone. Imagine a Boya where plastics no longer litter our streets or choke our waterways, where our children grow up in a cleaner, healthier environment. This vision is within our reach. A cleaner Boya starts with you. Why not join us in this crucial effort? For together we can make Boya a model for sustainable waste management in Cameroon.